the authentic record of strange warfare in a strange country. Here, against a Rudyard Kipling backdrop, the Morale Operations Branch of the Office of Strategic Services waged a campaign of subversion against Japanese troops. A strange army for modern total war. They are Kachin tribesmen, killers of North Burma, recruited, trained, and led by American officers. These guerrilla fighters of OSS Detachment 101 counted their score in thousands of Jap dead, other thousands terrorized. In this, the strike at the minds and hearts of the soldiers of Japan, Morale Operations Branch developed important techniques. By November of 1944, they were fighting behind Japanese lines in Burma, from Lido to Myitkyina. Under the able leadership of Colonel Ray Pears, commanding officer of Detachment 101, these fierce little men had paved the way for Merrill's Marauders, the British 36th Division, and the Chinese First Army. The objective was to link the Lido Road with the old Burma Road, 200 miles south near the town of Namkham. In November, with Kachins poised for further raids on Jap troops, the first field team of OSS MO personnel joined Detachment 101. Then, for the first time in Burma, the Kachins added MO techniques to their lethal equipment. Insidious propaganda, secretly prepared, devised to appear to be of Japanese origin, aimed at smashing the will to fight and morale of the enemy. The Kachins, jungle-wise warriors, became jungle-wide agents in a distribution network for this clandestine or black propaganda. This film shows the development of a typical MO project, how MO has achieved field-tested techniques which were used wherever our forces fought Jap troops in the China-Burma-India theaters, techniques with but a single goal, to undermine Jap fighting spirit. January 1945. A message arrives at the communications basha of 101 at Bamo. From Sammy. That's the code name of an American officer leading a company of Kachins. It's addressed to Major George Bolt, commanding officer for MO. After deciphering, the communications sergeant types the message, dispatches it by special messenger to MO. This soldier, Sergeant Maturin Waldo, was later killed in an airplane crash on an OSS mission. In the MO basha, the message is handed to the distribution officer who delivers it to his chief. At the desk, the two of them read. Major Bolt, sensing an ideal MO target at Nampaka, swings into action. With his production and intelligence officers, he starts work. The chief points out Nampaka to his staff. A myriad of questions develop. How best can MO material be made to reach the Japs in this area? Visvanathan, trusted Anglo-Burmese, suggests that Burmese natives in the villages be used to spread rumors. Another believes the time is ripe for a surrender campaign, an appeal to honorable understanding, which, the Jap soldier will be led to believe, has sprung up among his comrades, in his very ranks. All agree that here is the making of a real show, but that much more information is needed before the campaign can be implemented with actual production. Field MO must be keyed to latest order of battle intelligence, and accordingly, MO's intelligence officer, Lieutenant Junichi Buto, promptly goes across to contact 101's Research and Analysis Branch. With RNA's representative, the intelligence officer outlines the specific information MO will need. Even there, the careful planning cannot end. Without painstaking attention to the accuracy of each detail, MO cannot be effective. Cover must at all times be maintained. Credibility of its media, whether it be rumor or the printed page, must be absolute. The two agree that every source of information must be combed, and Lieutenant Buto decides to drive to nearby headquarters of Northern Combat Area Command. Here, through vital liaison with NCAC's G2 section, additional data will be forthcoming. Here, too, he hopes to interrogate a Jap prisoner in the command stockade, a man reportedly from the Japanese 18th Division, the same unit now at Nam Pakha. Meanwhile, back at the MO Basha, Major Bolt considers an effective method to lay the groundwork for the surrender campaign. He and Distribution Officer Lieutenant Davis talk it over. Can Sammy get an agent into Jap lines to deliver a forged order to the enemy commander at Nam Pakha? Here's a problem for field investigation. Major Ham, MO Field Operations Chief at 101's Advanced Headquarters, is now at Mongwe, near Sammy. He can get the answer for us. The chief suggests that Davis radio Major Ham, and the message goes out. From Bamo, MO's request is speedily radioed to the Mongwe Field Radio Post, where Major Ham is waiting for contact with headquarters. Ham has recently returned from a stay with Sammy's company of Kachins. After reading Major Bolt's message, he consults two Kachins familiar with the Nam Pakha area, and they assure him it will be possible to infiltrate the Jap garrison with the forged order MO is planning. A detailed report is drawn up, and Major Ham decides to dispatch it by plane waiting to make a run from Mongwe back to Bamo. Through 101's liaison squadron, the message is given directly to the pilot, who has been alerted to await Ham's dispatch. As soon as the ship lands in Bamo, our pilot heads for the telephone in his operations office. Here, Major Bolt is listening to Ham's message as it is read over the wire to him. With assurance that the mission is feasible, that subversive materials can be smuggled into Japanese positions at Nam Pakha, the green light is on. Nucleus of the proposed campaign will be a forged Japanese Army order, but of that more later. Here, MO's language staff starts actual preparation of the counterfeit document. That's Lieutenant Eddie Mitsukato working with Sergeant Eddie Sequoia on the first draft. Both of these men fought in the historic Burma campaign with Merrill's Marauders, the sergeant receiving the Silver Star, Mitsukato the Bronze Star. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Junichi Budo has completed his jeep drive to Northern Combat Area Command headquarters and arranged with G2 to interrogate two prisoners, recently members of the Jap 18th Division at Nam Pakha. A few friendly words, a pair of American cigarettes, and the Japs, previously screened as potentially cooperative, are persuaded to help the American forces. Budo explains to them how the planned surrender campaign will save their comrades' lives, and they agree to write a leaflet addressed to their soldiers near Nam Pakha. With actual production underway, all important distribution must be planned. Morale subversion techniques, no matter how brilliantly conceived or authentic, are worthless unless they actually reach their target, the enemy. Major Bolt and his distribution officer decide to print 20,000 leaflets which will give wide circulation to the alleged facts in the Japanese forged order. But visual circulation isn't enough. We'll take no chances of our campaign missing a single possible target. A well-spread rumor is the answer. A rumor campaign spread by the natives around Nam Pakha, by word of mouth from natives to the Jap troops in the area. Nathan and Starr plan the fabrication. It will be radioed to MO's Lieutenant Norman Sturgis in the town of Shwegu, near Nam Pakha. Preliminary work is finished, the basic plan adopted, and drafts of all production completed. Time now to iron out the rough spots before the MO board. A roundtable group which includes representatives of R&A, intelligence, and the operations branches. MO's production officer, Lieutenant Roger Starr, outlines the plan. Project Gold Dust is to be its code name. The campaign, aimed at inducing Jap troops to surrender, is to be based on the order which we have seen Mitsukato and Sequoia forging. How to get the order into the hands of the 18th Division commander. It is placed in a captured Jap message pouch, which will be planted as if lost by a courier, near the Nampaka command post. The counterfeit will purportedly come from General Hayotaro Kimura, Japanese troop commander in Burma. Addressed to all units of the enemy's 18th Division, it contains instructions modifying the rigid no-surrender policy of the Japanese. In effect, it implies that surrender will be condoned under certain circumstances. It serves notice that surrender for the Jap soldier is honorable if he finds himself cut off from his unit, that capture is honorable if the Jap is found unconscious on the battlefield. In short, we believe it will furnish the enemy soldier a plausible out, a way to rationalize himself into a surrenderable situation. More important than the original order, which of course will get but limited distribution, is the leaflet which the 2 Jap prisoners at the Bamo stockade have written for us. Based on the contents of the order, here is the device counted upon to publicize our surrender campaign. On its reverse, a Japanese translation of this English text appears, because actually the Japs will be made to believe that this has been printed by their forces for distribution to Allied troops. The leaflet will, of course, be dropped by mistake to the Japanese, and 5th Battalion Kachins will plant other copies on the ground near Nampaka as well. Project Gold Dust has been approved, and final production begins at M.O. Bamo. That's a camel's hair writing brush which Eddie Sequoia is using to paint the Japanese characters for the leaflet. Meanwhile, Roger Starr, the production chief, irons out a few last-minute details of the forged order with Mitsukato. Then he gets together with Nathan. The rumor, which has been radioed to Sturgis at Shwegu, is calculated to deprive the Japs of native labor in the Nampaka area. Later, we'll see it in operation. Press time for the leaflet. It's to be multilith. The final mat, the keystone of the lithograph printing process, goes to Sergeant Baker in the mobile production van. The press starts rolling. This self-contained 2.5-ton production unit houses complete printing equipment and a photo lab. It can operate in the field for 2 months with the supplies it carries. This mobile van rumbled over the Lido Road to Bamo, and later went on over the Burma Road up to Kunming. The leaflets are finished. Here we see them being cut and trimmed, ready to start on their last lap, distribution. Lieutenant Davis packages the sheets of what we expect to be printed dynamite. The envelopes will be parachuted to Sammy and his company of Kachins in the supply drop later today. Sammy will receive his MO ammunition by fast airdrop in the Burmese jungle. A few minutes after Davis delivers the leaflets to the Air Operations Office, the cargo is en route to Sammy's Kachins. In a village near Nampaka, a Burmese agent plants our forgery. It won't be many minutes till a Jap discovers the message pouch and speeds to his headquarters with a surrender order. Just what we want. In Shwegu, Lieutenant Sturgis has received instructions on the rumor he is to spread. He goes to call on Mrs. Anderson, a Shan woman and widow of an Anglo-Burmese who was killed fighting Japs. Have you heard the news, Mrs. Anderson? The Japs expect to pull out of Nampaka soon. They plan to kill all the Nampaka men before they leave. Many people are already taking to the hills for safety. Sturgis is counting on Mrs. Anderson, who, like most women, can't resist circulating gossip. If the rumor spreads as it is bound to, the mass exodus of natives in the area will leave the Japs without a labor supply. The rumor seed planted, Mrs. Anderson goes to the Shwegu Bazaar, sounding post for all community news. I've just heard that the Japs are going to kill all men and women in Nampaka before they retreat. Everyone's going up into the hills. The campaign is underway. Like the jungle telegraph, the story spreads from one to the other of these natives. As it spreads, it grows. Soon people are recounting eyewitness versions of Japanese mass murders. Before long, it will spread from Shwegu to Nampaka. The village will be nearly deserted, and M.O.'s rumor campaign a success. Meanwhile, in the Burma jungle near Nampaka, 101's Kachins, the 5th Battalion led by Sammy, are underway with their phase of the MO mission. A patrol of these crafty warriors is just completing distribution of the surrender leaflet along a trail frequently used by the Japs. Suddenly, the Kachin standing guard behind the tree detects approaching Japs. The alarm is given and the Kachins speed away, but not before they have sown their subversive landmines, the little slips of paper designed to soften and break enemy morale. Next day, a carrier pigeon swoops into the message loft at 101 headquarters. The message it carries, as phoned to Major Bolt, tells the story. At a landing strip near Sammy's field position, the plane arrives to pick up its precious human cargo, rare Jap prisoners, alive and available for on-the-spot intelligence. These Japs are the payoff, the fruits of a carefully planned subversion campaign, the payoff in results for the men of OSS Detachment 101, for the loyal Kachin tribesmen, and for the field-tested techniques of the Morale Operations Branch. Back to BAMO go the prisoners for detailed questioning. They will reveal useful intelligence. Through the experience gained in Project Gold Dust, Morale Operations goes on to add its subversive weapon to campaigns in China, Thailand, Indonesia, on to destroy the fighting will of the Jap wherever he can be found.